about 2 years ago, we found out that we have dangerous cladding, and it's left me in a position where I'm now trapped in my home, and it's unsafe. It's a scary place to live, and it means that at the moment I'm trapped here. I can't sell, I can't move, and yeah, it's not a nice position to be in.
I led a debate in Parliament on this on Monday. I heard from people who are finding it so difficult to believe that there's anyone left in Natalie's position when 3.5 years ago there was such a terrible tragedy in which 72 people lost their lives, and yet it is so. So Natalie's question was, is it right that the government doesn't know how many buildings have got dangerous cladding on? It's also not just dangerous cladding, there are other fire risks as well. And it's not just that there are still buildings with the same cladding as was on Grenfell, the exact same, but there are other buildings with other dangerous cladding on. I've met people like Natalie across the country. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And so, yes, it may be correct that the government doesn't know how many buildings there are, but it's not right. It's morally wrong, and it's morally wrong that Natalie and people like her have been left with the fear, with the cost of trying to remedy it, and the fact that her flat is now valueless.
So
what many people in the same situation. Well, on Monday we called on the government, and I think it's something which has cross-party support. This is above party politics. We called on the government, and we know that there are Tory MPs and Liberal Democrat MPs who all feel the same way, to lift the burden off the residents like Natalie, who's, as she said, she's done the right thing. She's saved up and bought her first home to get on the property ladder. We think that the government should lift that burden off leaseholders, get sorted, finding out exactly how many buildings and what level of risk, not some arbitrary height, but what's the level of risk, remedy it, get it remedied as soon as possible, and then go after the industry that caused the problem to pay for it. Because actually, why should the taxpayer pay for it as well?
This is just emblematic of a far bigger problem, and that is the fact that profit is put above people, and it's that simple. And we learnt that at those tragic events in Grenfell. And, you know, people think health and safety isn't very sexy. But you know what? There's a reason for health and safety. There's a reason for that. And the cuts to the health and safety executive, all of these cuts, all of these shortcuts, all of these tenders, all of these opportunities for businesses to come in with the lowest possible tender to be taken up. This isn't just about business. This is about people like Natalie. This is about all of those sleepless nights. And when we look at the industry, you know, I'm sure you'll remember a couple of years ago, the head of Persimmon was getting a £75 million bonus. Now, they wanted to give him 110 million, but they thought people might think that was a bit much. So they only gave him £75 million. That was a bonus for doing a good job. Now, the industry is full of these people. It's full of CEOs on £3, £4, £5 million. They're not worried about cladding on their buildings. You know, the problem is, as has been said, 3.5 years. And now we're talking about another couple of months and another year and the end of the year. Well, I'm sure that's, you know, that's not a comfort to people like Natalie and all of those thousands and millions of people potentially who are living in these houses that are unsafe. It's a very basic human right to go to sleep at night in a house that you think is safe.